Two guys in their early 50s with one dream: to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, we're back behind the microphones once again for the Missing Links Golf Show, and I don't know about you, but it feels like a long, long time since we've sat down and had a chat.
Yeah, that's probably because it has been we've had a little bit of a period where we've had stuff going on, and yeah, just life takes over sometimes, and yeah, you've got to set those priorities, I guess, which is what we always talk about.
One of the core themes on this show, Pilgrims, I'm sure you will appreciate, has always been our attempts, our struggles to juggle the demands of, trying to get better at golf alongside, having jobs, but also more importantly, having families. And yeah, that's kind of been a bit of the theme over the last week. You would have seen a short comment up on the Facebook group just apologising that we weren't going to get an episode out last week, which we didn't, but we're back this week, so that is good. But I feel like there's probably a little bit of explanation that we need to give as to what took place, Andy Walker. I know you're across this, but the Pilgrims are not.
Yes.
So I share this. It's a bit personal, but I share this because I think there's public service in this, and there is certainly some information that I wish I had known before we embarked on the wild ride of an adventure that we did as a family over the past 10 days. So I won't go into all of the gory details, but just to put it this way, Pilgrims, young Mr. Hinks, you've heard me talk of him as one of the world's greatest 13-year-old caddies that's ever gone around. He got quite ill last week. We thought that he had a garden variety gastro bug that just he couldn't shift, and so ended up taking him to the hospital. And when we got to the hospital, the triage nurse did some of the tests, and the first test that they did showed that his blood sugars were way out of alignment, rushed him straight into emergency. He was a very, very sick little boy. He did not have a gastro bug. What he actually had was as yet undiagnosed type 1 diabetes. So he actually got airlifted down to Sydney, to the Children's Hospital at Randwick. And I've got to say, honestly, the people that work in our health system are just extraordinary humans. The empathy and the expertise and the care that we got was incredible. But he spent about 3 days in ICU, which was pretty scary for all of us, and all up a bit over a week in hospital. I'm happy to say that he's out now. He's back at school, but his life is forever changed with now having that diagnosis of type 1 diabetes and having to, inject insulin before every meal. And look, the things that we didn't know, right? And here's the scary part of it is, so type 1 versus type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is lifestyle, generally from diet and weight gain and those types of things. Type 1, though, is a genetic disorder. It's actually an autoimmune disorder. And what happens is that the pancreas, when an event triggers it, if you've got the gene, it's going to happen. If you don't have the gene, it's not going to happen. There is nothing you can do about this. But if you do have the gene, which he's got, when the condition is triggered, your own immune system starts to attack what's called the beta cells in your pancreas, which prevents you from creating insulin. Insulin is used by the body to convert glucose in your blood into energy. And when that can't happen, your body then stores up a lot of glucose in the blood, which is not good for you, but also to create energy, it starts to attack its own cells and actually starts to use muscle and fat reserves of the body to create energy to keep you alive. The byproduct of this is called acidosis, which is where your body composition acidifies and you actually start to affect organ performance. So it can lead to serious complications such as strokes and cardiac arrest. So it's pretty damn serious. And the symptoms often just look like a virus. So to all the parents out there, not to be alarmed, but definitely it's one to have on your radar because we had no idea. We had no family history of it. It's just something which has been very, very unfortunate. So, yeah, that's been a pretty dominant situation in our life, Andy Walker, over the last 10 days.
Yeah, and it's such a difficult thing to I guess, comprehend and accept. I mean, no family history. It's come out of nowhere. Like, there's no warning signs. There's nothing. Our families have spent a lot of time together, and there's just like it never even crossed our mind that there could be anything wrong, right? Like, it was
mind blowing. It was absolutely.
It's so far out of left field, and then all of a sudden, everything's changed, right? And I mean, you and I have sort of spoken a little bit about, how that's impacted you personally, how it's impacted your lovely wife personally, how it's impacted the young Mr. Hinks personally, and I know you're going through it as a family, but you also deal with it separately and individually as well, and it's just. Yeah, I mean, I know that when you sent me that message and I jumped on the phone straight away, it was disbelief. Like, I was in shock that this has happened, and then obviously a couple of days later we came down to visit you guys very, very briefly before you got
before we got thrown on a plane back to Orange.
Yep. And look, the young bloke, he seemed to be dealing with it okay. I mean, in light of just the enormity of it all, and I mean, your young bloke and my young bloke are pretty good mates, and they were just chatting away and just doing their normal stuff. And it's a bit mind blowing, and I still think about it and struggle to reconcile it. So I can only can't imagine what you guys are going through.
Yeah, it's been a tricky one, and I think like a couple of things that you raised there, like he handled it and has handled it really well, considering it's very easy to go into a dark place with these types of things, particularly when you get a diagnosis, which is a condition that you'll be carrying for life. At this point in time, hopefully it changes, but at this point in time, there is no cure. His approach was pretty pragmatic. Just kind of said, "Oh, well, I've got to have a injection every time I eat." What's the big deal with that? It's not going to stop me doing anything, and I'm going to get on with life and move on. And far out, what an attitude. I have to say, like, I was expecting from day one that there would be an emotional crash, and that did come over the weekend because, as you can probably imagine, the reality of having to give yourself an injection before you eat anything, and you can't just go to the pantry and grab a couple of cookies or something like that, like you might normally do. So that finally did kick in. He had a bit of an emotional period over the weekend, but we continue to work through that. And I don't think that's the last time we're going to see that. But there's a few things that I think is worth saying though. Like firstly, we thoroughly appreciate the support that we got from the medical fraternity. Like New South Wales Health is incredible. The people that work in it are amazing. I don't know how they do it. The amount of emotional energy that they must expend on a daily basis is just something that I could not do. The second thing is type 1 diabetes is a manageable and treatable condition. It is something that if sensible decisions get made, there is nothing stopping him from doing absolutely everything in his life that he wants to do. There's nothing stopping him eating anything that he wants to eat as well. You just got to react appropriately. So that is good. We're very, very thankful that it wasn't a more serious diagnosis that was terminal. It was touch and go there for a while because he was so sick, but, he pulled through. But then, so all of those things are very positive, but then at the same time, there's a bit of a grieving process that you go through as a family, with sort of the vision for what your future might look like, that potentially now it's different. So there's a lot of those sorts of things I think we'll learn as we go. For me, it also has been as you'd expect, it's one of those perspective shifters a little bit too. Like it just reinforces what's important. Your family, your health are far more important than anything. And it's funny, like I took a week or so off work. I've been back this week, and my reaction to that was a little bit like, I don't know if you experienced this when you go overseas for an extended period, you travel, you have all these new experiences, you really grow really quickly as a person. And then you come back home and everyone else has kind of stayed the same, and you're sort of in this twilight zone of I'm a different person, but the world around me hasn't shifted. I actually
100%.
feel like that this week, being back at work, kind of going. I feel like I've lived 10 years in the last 10 days and then come back in and people are still, talking about the same issues that they had, obviously only a week ago, but like the same things that really upset people and they're frustrated by, and you kind of sit there and go, I don't care. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, and it's that small stuff, right? It's that's what people get caught up in on the day-to-day. Like it's just, and by nature, we are, creatures that focus more on the negative than the positive. I mean, that goes back to when we lived in caves, but yeah, when you go through something as big as that, to then come back and see that sort of small-minded, narrow-minded viewpoint, it does. Yeah, you sit back and you just go, really? Like, why?
It's not what's important. And, by extension, a 3-putt, who cares? A missed fairway, who cares? So I will be playing competitive golf on this weekend coming. I actually got out for 9 holes after work today. And, that was more just to clear the head than to actually do anything, which was really, really good to get out and just, kind of have a bit of a stroll around and hit a few golf balls. But, I think, I'm not going to be a Buddhist monk about it, but I think that the ability to put things into perspective, after coming through an experience like this, I would imagine it's going to change just a little bit.
Yeah. And I think back to, and I've done this a little bit over the last week or so, I think back to some of the challenges I've had, and not just over the last couple of years, but, there's been a couple more over the last 10 years that I've had. But, those challenges I've overcome, and there's no, well, maybe the arthritis, but there's no major impact on my life. But what your young bloke's going to have to deal with, it's just going to be there with him for the rest of his life, unless there's some major medical breakthrough that comes down the track.
Which, is being worked on. It's not out of the realms of possibility of happening, but it's not going to be, certainly not going to be years away. It's decades away. But I think, one of the things that's been amazing since we've found out about this, and we've done a lot of learning in a very, very short amount of time, is just how common it is and how many people have had this condition touch their lives, their families' lives, or people that are very close to them. And so I would say, for anyone on the pilgrimage, if you've got experience in this space, reach out. We'd love to hear about it. I think one of the things that we've learned in this process is it's so important to talk to people that have been through it. It's so important to actually see successful people on the other side. For the young man, like having some of those role models, it's really, really important. And, we learned, we just saw with the athletics over the weekend, fantastic races in the 100 metres and 200 metres at the Maury Plant meet down in Victoria, where Lockie Kennedy pipped the new Australian sensation Gout in both the 100 and the 200. Lockie Kennedy, he's type 1 diabetic. So, seeing that was great because it's just proof that you can do anything. You just got to manage yourself accordingly. So anyhow, that's the update. That's where we got to. So apologies that we didn't get an episode out, but in the grand scheme of things, that was the absolute last thing that I was concerned about over the last week. It's nice to be back. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, look, as important as what it is to, for us to engage with golf and on, with the pilgrims, families front center, nothing else is more important. So I think that we all understand that decision was one that really wasn't really a decision, was it?
No, absolutely not. And there's no way in the world that I was going to be jumping on the microphones for an hour in the ICU ward at Randwick Children's Hospital either, just quietly. But anyway, we do appreciate, the support, even though sometimes it's quiet out in the background from the pilgrimage, and that's why we had the conversation before we turned the microphones on. We thought that it was actually an important conversation for us to have, because we know part of this story, part of everyone's story, is bringing your full person to everything that you do, and dealing with a lot of these roadblocks that get thrown in the way. So, hence why we shared it. Hopefully there's, for anyone out there that needs to hear that story, that there's a few lessons. And as I say, I wish we had known more about this beforehand. Because people you just don't know. You don't get told.
Yep.
You don't learn about these things. So anyhow, there you go. But Andy Walker, let's talk about some golf. I really think that we need to talk about your round. I'm excited. I believe you've played competitive golf today.
I did play a competitive round of golf today, which I did post in the Facebook group for those in the yearly championship, the Missing Links Golf Show championship Facebook group. So I posted in there and had a couple of nice little comments. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Sandy Wedge, for those comments.
Yeah, Sandy's getting on board for you now.
Yeah.
After the feud that you guys had a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think he's on board. He's a fan.
Yeah, I'm surprised. And to be honest, a little disappointed. Anyway, what can you do?
But look, I mean, it was good to get out. Being the last day of the month, I thought I'd have to sneak one in. I did plan on playing last week, but unfortunately the course was closed on Monday, Tuesday for greens renovations. So a week after greens renovations, the course was still, or the greens in particular, were still not great. They were better, I believe, than what they were on the weekend, but you still got the core track marks and a lot of sand on your balls. So even if you knock it, either sort of 2 or 2.5 feet past or short, you've still got to mark your ball, clean your ball, because you don't want a bit of sand getting in between your putter face and the balls. So
is this a setup for excuses?
Oh, there's no setup. It's just excuses.
Okay. No, it's good. It's good background. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So look, it was good. I mean, I had a bit of an early start. Teed off at 7:15. Actually got to the course at 6:30, and it was still dark. And I said to the bloke in the pro shop, really, actually quite a good golfer, played on tour for a little while, and still actually is a pretty handy golfer. And I said to him, "It's dark. Like, what's going on?" And he said, "Is that a bad thing?"
Head torches, mate.
Sometimes if you can't see it, it's a bit easier. And so we had a bit of a laugh about that. But by the time I got to tee off, it was light. So beautiful day out there. It was ended up being about 27 degrees and very little wind, and very, very enjoyable, good company. So it's always good to get out in the golf course, especially midweek when everyone else is working and you sort of get out there and playing golf. So it was good. In regards to how I played, look, I played there was some scratchy golf in there, but there was also some good golf. I was talking to one of the played with a young bloke who's only 14, just only been playing the game for about 10 months, and he's already down to 19 and doing pretty well. And we walked off the second, and I said to him, so the focus that I have, which I heard from a PGA Tour golfer, is if I can par the first 3 holes, that's my focus. So I've been trying to go out and with that focus, and because I haven't been playing a lot, sometimes it takes me sort of 3 or 4 holes just to get into, some rhythm and timing and just get used to being out in the golf course again. So, but I've also been putting a little bit of time in the high performance center. Yesterday, actually, I had a pretty decent session on the practice putting green just to get my putting stroke in order for today. So I felt pretty good when I jumped on the first tee, and I actually hit a really good tee shot. Bit of a scratchy second, but still only had about 70 meters to the the pin. Hit a reasonably good pitch shot, just a little bit short, ended up about 25 feet short, and a pretty comfortable 2-putt to start the day, which was good. Same
nice.
as the second. The second's the par 3 over water. Hit a 9-iron sort of left of the flag. The flag was sort of on the right hand side of the.
They like putting it on the right, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and even in the Tuesday comp, they don't mind sort of sticking in that back right corner, and it wasn't back right corner, but it was still sort of right center. So I aimed, maybe 5 meters left of the flag, and I tugged a little bit, but it still ended up sort of around about that sort of 20-25 feet mark, and again, sort of pretty comfortable 2-putt on the second. So and that's when I had the conversation with the young bloke. And just said, look, he playing off 19. So I said to him, obviously you've got to, apply that to your own game. So if you start off with 3 bogeys, the way you're playing, that's a reasonably good solid start. So we, just again, trying to have a little bit of a word to the young bloke just to keep him on track and just put some thoughts in his head.
Look at you mentoring the next generation, Andy Walker.
You've got to get out there and do that. So the third par 4, my favourite par 4 on the golf course.
No,
not. Hit a 4 off the tee and managed to clear. I actually hit it at the left trees. I again tugged a little bit, and I managed to actually clear the trees without. And I'm not sure if it actually went through the trees or managed to get over, but we'll say it got over. Hit a bit of an ordinary 4-iron from the second to the front left. It was just off the front of the green, and the pin was right up the back, and that's actually quite a long green. Had around about 18 meters to the flag, and I've had that shot probably have to be 8 to 10 times, and every single time I putt it, and every single time I've 3-putted. So today I decided to do exactly the same thing. So I putted it and I 3-putted. And I walked off the green and I said to the 2 older blokes that I was playing with, I said exactly that, and they just laughed. And I went, that's just golf, right? Like you just, I don't know. It's at some stage I'll learn.
I reckon
that putt is actually too long for a putt.
I reckon one of these days you're going to do exactly the same thing and get a different result.
Maybe. So here's my mission. Should I choose to accept it? That in the next few rounds, if I ever get that shot again, I got to chip it. Just little, and it just needs to be a little pitch and run, just with a 7 or a 6-iron. Like it's far enough to be able to. And I remember as a young bloke listening to, there was a couple of video series Greg Norman put out, and I remember him saying that he chips with anything down to his 5-iron. Now don't think I've ever chipped with my 5-iron, but certainly I go to 6-iron.
What about a hybrid or a fairway wood?
Yeah, see, I've never done the 3 wood or the hybrid out of the rough. I've just never practiced that shot, but it's an interesting shot. It's probably something that I should practice, but just never have. So
it's a tricky one. I've tried.
I'll leave it out of my kit just because I haven't practiced it. So
and you
if I was
have
going
to
get that shot, it's a 6-iron sort of bunt and run up up the green. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to practice it though, because if you use a fairway wood or a hybrid or something like that, it comes off the face really hot.
yes,
So it's quite easy to smoke it through. But
Mm.
because of that, if you're coming through a bit of fringe or something like that, it can actually be really good because it'll get the ball through the fringe. Whereas if you use a putter,
Yep.
for example, you'll get caught up in the fringe.
Yeah.
But you do,
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, you need to practice it. You can't just wheel it out on comp day and go, hey, let's give this a go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But this was like, from the fairway, like it just would have been a perfect shot to grab my 6-iron or 7-iron and just, hit a nice little sort of bump and run up the green, and it would have been pretty comfortable. But yeah, I just decided to do the same thing and
Just to go the 3-putt. Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, ended up with 5. So 1 over after 3. Wasn't not too disappointed with that, but yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the 3-putt. So we head to 4 par 3. Had 124 meters, and of course, being pretty early in the morning, the air was still fairly thick. I decided to hit a sort of punch 9-iron, and I hit a really good 9-iron to about 2.5 meters,
Nice.
and just hit a really good putt and went straight in the middle, nothing but net.
Nice.
So,
Birdman.
good comeback after the 3-putt. Nice little 2
Very good.
on the next par 3.
Back to even.
Yep. Now 5 is a par 5. Now the tees are actually getting redone, so we were right off the front markers. So it was only about a 400 meter par 5. So
Opportunity.
I'm thinking birdie all day long. So I pulled out my driver and I hit a bit of an ordinary drive, so a bit heely. Went into the right rough, and the rough at the moment at Coimbra is really thick, especially just off the fairway. When you get maybe 5 or 6 meters off the fairway, it starts to thin out a little bit, but just off the fairway, it's actually really thick. And I think that's, we've had a little bit of rain and then some heat and humidity. I think that the rough, I know the grass in the backyard's been, you can almost watch it grow. You mow it, and then all of a sudden it's back to being long again. So I think the same thing's happened at Coimbra, and it was just sitting down a little bit. And I hit a 7-iron, and what I thought was a really good 7-iron, but it just caught the left-hand bunker, and just ended up sort of. It actually it must have done a loop, because it went into the right-hand side of the bunker, but ended up on the left-hand side. So I think it did a bit of a loop. And the bunkers aren't great at the moment. They don't have a lot of sand in them. So,
At the moment, are they ever great?
yeah, they're not. They do need a little bit of work. And I just, for the sand that was in the bunker, I just hit it too hard. It was a reasonable enough strike. I just hit it too hard, and it just ran through the green a little bit. I had probably about a 20-foot putt sort of coming down the hill, sort of left to right, and I left it quite literally about a centimetre short, dead in the middle of the hole.
That hurts.
So I walked off with 5, which, given it's a 400 meter par 5, it did feel like a bogey, I must admit.
Yeah, no harm done, but yeah, you're right. You feel like you've left one out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So we go down to the par 3 6th. Hit a pretty ordinary tee shot, just came out of it. I actually felt pretty good over the ball, but just spun out of it, and it was short. It was on the green, but sort of short and right, and the pin was back left. And as you know, on that green, there's a tier that runs right along the middle ridge of the green, and that really sort of drops off towards the water. And that's where the pin was. So it was a bit of a tricky putt. I hit a reasonable putt. Probably ended up about 4 feet from the flag. And my next putt, I actually hit a really good putt at the right edge, and it just did a horseshoe and basically came straight back at me. I hit it pretty firm, and I actually thought that it was going to just sort of drop in, but yeah, it just held its line and horseshoed. So that was a bit of a disappointing 3-putt bogey.
Uh, uh, oh,
So
well.
seven par four. I actually played this hole like my tee shot, and I had about 80 meters. Off the tee, I hit a 4 fairway, absolutely drilled it down the middle of the fairway. Had about 80 meters to the flag, and quite interestingly, last night I did a session in the high performance center. I was practicing my 80-meter, 54-degree wedge pitch shots. So
Nice.
I knew what I had to do. And I hit a really, really good shot to about 2.5 feet.
Beautiful.
And
Did you make the putt? Yeah, no. Oops.
And from 2.5 feet, it didn't actually even hit the hole.
Oh. So hang on.
It was such a bad putt.
Talk us through it. Are we talking that from 2.5 feet that it had a huge amount of break in it, or
No, it was a straight putt,
No.
straight putt.
No.
I actually felt pretty good over the putt. Like there was, I don't feel as though like there was a mental error. I just did a bad putt. Like it was just an awful stroke.
Is this the one where, sometimes in your takeaway you get the club face a bit out of kilter? I'm trying to remember exactly what you've told this story before.
Yeah,
about,
there's been a couple of times
that leads to a pull.
My tendency with the broomy is to take the club face back closed, and it's something that I've worked on a lot over the last probably 12 months or so, but it does creep in there a little bit, and yes, that was definitely the issue, is that I just took the club face back closed, and there's times where I can adjust and get it back to being square, but yeah, on the seventh today, not so much. Yeah.
Oh well, onwards and upwards.
So it was an easy par. So par 5/8, hit a pretty ordinary 3 utility off the tee, went just a pull straight left, ended up on the cart path. So I got a drop from the cart path, hit a good 4-iron up into the middle of the fairway, had 94 meters to the flag, which for me is just a good sort of half punch 50-degree wedge. And again, I'd been practicing these shots in the high performance center, and just hit a really bad pull. And when you hit a pull, you just come over the top, they just go long and left.
Yeah.
It went long and left and ended up in that bunker. And the flag was back, so I had no green to work with. And fortunately, and this is where I did get a bit lucky that the greens were caught and they were quite long, because if it had been under normal conditions, I probably would have had to have maybe even hit away from the flag, maybe even back down the fairway a little bit, because the water's in front of the green and I'm at the back with no green to work with. And then there's the tier that runs halfway through the green, and it's quite a shallow green. So anything that you're going to land on the green is just going to roll down the tier, and basically at the front of the green, you're straight off into the hazard. So I was a bit fortunate in that case, and I actually hit a really good bunker shot. I landed it just in the fringe, and it rolled down past the flag, and it actually stopped on the tier, like halfway down the tier. So that's how slow the greens were. It stopped halfway down the tier, and I said to the guys I was playing with, I said, I'm a bit lucky that the greens are caught today. So I was sort of around about 12 feet from the flag. And as soon as I looked at the putt, I went, I know the line, I know the speed, this is going in, and it just went straight in the middle of the hole.
Nice.
A really, really good putt. And again, I'll take an up and down from that position
every day
of the week.
So I feel like you've maybe got one there. Which has gone your way after giving a couple away. So
yes.
Okay. Evens out. So we move on to 9.
I was one over through 8.
Yeah.
And yeah, I sort of feel as though that was about what I was playing. So I don't feel as though
Yeah.
there was sort of, any variance in sort of score to how I felt
Yeah, that's good.
on the course. So
But
that was good.
You have had some adventures on 9 in the past.
9 is so you know how 13 was my nemesis hole.
Yeah, I feel like 9 might be.
9 is my new nemesis hole, and to be honest with you, that was no different today. I pulled a 4-iron off out of the bag, teed it up, and just hit it straight right into the hazard. Like it did not look like it was going anywhere else, and I mean, it wouldn't have got to the first, but it wouldn't have been far away from the first fairway. That's how far right I hit it. Like it was so far right. I mean, I only took a drop maybe 50 meters down the fairway. That's how far right it went. Like it wasn't even close. As soon as it came off the club face, I just went, oh no.
Ouch.
So got down there, took a drop. And then something really weird happened. I looked at I was using the Arcos GPS, right?
Yeah.
And because I couldn't go at the flag, I had to just hit down the fairway. So I had to hit over the fairway bunkers, and there's the bit of fairway that's sort of past the fairway bunkers. And I looked on Arcos, and it told me it was 104 meters to my landing area. And I went, oh, yeah, that's all right. So I'll just hit a good sort of 50-degree wedge, goes about 105 meters, and I should be in a perfect spot. So I just stood up. I hit a really good 50-degree wedge, and I was looking at it going, that looks like it's not even going to carry the bunker. And it's landed short of the bunker and jumped into the bunker. And I just went, hang on a tick. It was like 104 meters over the bunker to my landing area. And then I went back to Arcos, and quite literally, as I was looking at it, the numbers changed from 104 to 136. I kid you not. I've never seen anything like it before. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
I don't know whether something was going on funny with the GPS or the satellite or the software had a glitch. But I kid you not, it was 104 meters, and I actually saw it change.
Well, all I can say is the good people at Arcos that no doubt are listening into this episode, and we'll probably tag them on socials as a result of this. Please explain. I mean, this is unacceptable. If you're going to caddy for Andy Walker, you need to know your yardages. I'm not sure, though, in fairness, I'm not sure why you didn't make the effort to pull your rangefinder out of the bag and at least zap the distance to the bunker.
Yeah, look, there is a good reason why I didn't do that. I think it's commonly known as laziness.
Yep.
I mean, look, there's also, in all fairness and being serious, there's also like pace of play and all the rest. And
so you think you genuinely think the 5 seconds it takes to laser the bunker is going to slow you up more than playing your next shot out of the bunker?
When I'm in general play, I generally use the GPS. I don't use the rangefinder. I use the rangefinder purely for shots I'm hitting into the green to find the distance to the flag. Everything else I use the GPS, and even shots to the flag, I look at distance to the front, distance to the back if I need to carry a bunker, what the distances are. So yeah, I do rely on the GPS. I'm finding a lot more for just general play than what I'm using the rangefinder, and maybe that's an error. Maybe that's something I need to reconsider, just to have a backup. But
depends what Arcos have got to say about this. Do you use the MyScore app? You do for scoring, obviously.
Yes, yes, I do.
But that also has got some distances on it now as well.
Does it?
There's a new version. So The original MyScore gives you distances to the centre of the green from wherever you are on the hole. There's a new version that's just been released. I believe our club is about to go live with it, and that's got hole, like the map of the hole, and it's got various distances on the hole. I haven't used it yet, but from seeing the screenshots, it actually looks really good.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So
I'll have to give it a crack. Yeah. So anyway, look, I was 123 meters from the flag, but the problem is the bunker the fairway bunker I went into has a really high lip. So I hit a 9-iron, but I had to put it right up the front, almost off my left toe, and hit it really high. And I actually hit a decent shot, hit a really good shot, but I hit it to the front of the green. Still had around about maybe 25 feet to the flag, which I two putted for an easy 6.
A nice double. Oh.
Yeah,
but
yeah, so
17 points.
Not a great finish to the front 9. I hate having doubles at the best of times, but for me it's finishing off a 9 or finish off the round with a double. It just gives you that sour taste.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And yeah.
That's why I can't wait for them to get rid of the 18th hole at Dubbo.
You still got to play the 18th hole, right?
Just not that one.
Yeah. So we switched, went down to the back 9. I actually almost cold topped my tee shot on 10. And my 3 utility, it went 151 meters. So that's how badly I hit it. Now, normally Pilgrims, I'd hit my 3 utility around about sort of 200, 205. It quite literally, if a snake had have raised its head, it would have taken the snake's head off. It went that low. But it was still on the fairway. I hit just a rank 4-iron out of the heel down the left-hand side and ended up in the rough. Had about 138 to the flag, of which I hit a rank 8-iron right of the green, just in the scungy rough.
Awesome.
So I'd played the hole pretty well.
Yeah.
But interestingly, had not hit it any in trouble.
Yeah.
So I sort of had an opportunity to get up and down, and my pitch shot, I actually thought I hit a really, really good pitch shot, which landed on the fringe of the green and then just kicked forward, because you get those pitch shots sometimes that you think they're going to land a certain way, but it just hits something and goes low and forward.
It's almost like it hits the collar of where the grass changes and it pings it forward. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it did that and went about 15 feet past, and I was so angry at that point in time, and I just
why were you angry, Andy Walker? Why were you angry?
It's unusual for me to be angry. I know, but just after making double and hitting 3 ranked shots, and then having a pitch which I thought was a reasonably good pitch that had a bit of a hard kick, stood over the putt, and I just I don't know what it was. I just narrowed in my focus, and I was just like, I am not missing this. And I absolutely drilled the putt. I reckon if it missed the middle of the hole, it would have lipped out. But if it missed the hole, it probably would have gone about 6 feet past. But it hit the back of the cup, jumped up, and went back down to the middle of the hole.
Nice.
For an easy 5.
Wow. I feel like you dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So 11 par 4. Really good 4 fairway down the left-hand side of the fairway, just short of the fairway bunker. Hit an okay 8-iron into the green. Was about sort of 15, 18 feet. Actually hit quite a good putt, but just sort of didn't take the break, rolled maybe foot 18 inches past and tapped in for a par. So
nice.
Just a good solid regulation par on 11. Now on 12. 12 was 148 meters to the flag, and I thought this is a good 7-iron for me. hit a great 7-iron into 2.5 feet.
Ooh,
And
it's your bogey distance.
absolutely just straight in the middle of the cup.
Oh,
Never
nice.
looked anything else but middle.
Nice.
So
Another bird.
So yeah, sort of exercise the demons of number 7.
So what are you? You're 2 over after 12.
2 over. Yeah. So I've just made a birdie to come back to 2 over.
Nice.
So 13, previous nemesis hole. Four and off the tee, hit a really good 4-iron, hit an 8-iron into, again, about 18 feet, and just an easy 2-putt.
Nice.
Good regulation par. So again, I think 13's not my nemesis hole anymore.
It's 9.
So yeah, I think I've sort of put those demons to bed.
It's definitely 9. And I think it's important to just think about that when you step up onto the tee on 9 next time
Thanks,
as well.
Mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's good. But wise words of encouragement.
Really concentrate. Go, okay, this is my nemesis hole.
Yeah. Need to focus on that.
Yeah. Now I'm going to try extra hard.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
I probably won't do that, but anyway.
It's an option.
14, stood on the 14th tee. Again, felt really, really good. And hit a shot that reminded me of the shot I hit at 9.
Oh.
Just straight right off the club face.
So what's the story?
Don't know where it came from. I felt good on the tee. It wasn't a mental error, same as 9. 9 wasn't a mental error, but it just went straight right off the club face.
Is it open club face or is it
what
shank?
I think? No, it wasn't a shank. What I think it is so my whole previous swing, right, is over the top and holding it through impact to get the fade, right? Whereas now I'm wanting to get the club more inside the line on a shallower plane than my backswing, and sort of either coming straight through the line or slightly inside to out. What I think I'm doing is having that slightly inside out, but just holding on like the previous swing and just not releasing through the ball.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. But yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on it, because I can tell you it's as bad as what the snap hook was. This is just as bad.
It's just as bad. It's different bad.
It's a different result. It's on the other side of the fairway to the snap hook, but it ends up being just as bad a result. So I really need to sort it out, because it did come out a few times today.
Do you think it could be dropping it too far inside and getting stuck, like getting caught behind your body a little bit?
Potentially. I think it's more that I'm just not releasing. That it's just some of my old habits coming in with the new swing path that I've got. So that's my thoughts. But again, just going to have to do a little bit of work and see where it ends up. I was a little bit fortunate though, because it did get caught in the trees and sort of come back a little bit. I was still in the tree line, and I had to pitch out just up to the fairway bunkers. I had about 70 meters to the flag, and I hit an okay pitch on it. It wasn't great, but ended up sort of around about 12 feet. I just hit a slight pull with my putt, and it just rolled over the left edge and missed, and I tapped in for a bogey. So, I guess after the tee shot, to end up with a bogey, I was sort of, I probably dodged a little bit of a bullet there to walk off with 5. Disappointing, because, that hole, especially where the pin was, is a bit of a birdie hole. But, given the tee shot, I didn't walk off too disappointed. So 15, I hit a 3 utility down the left-hand side of the fairway, which, leaves me sort of 2 long shots into the green. So par 5, long par 5. I actually get a shot on 15.
Nice.
I then, and I didn't have I wasn't confident that I had enough firepower to get over those 2 fairway bunkers that are about 130 short of the green. So I hit a 4-iron, and I was exactly 140 to the flag. And from there, I just decided to take a 7-iron, just a little sort of half punch 7-iron, and I wanted to start it sort of about 3 meters right of the pin, and sort of if it drew back into the flag, great. If it stayed straight, then I still had a reasonably straightforward putt, and I hit it dead straight. Ended up 3 meters right of the flag. Actually hit quite a good shot. I was quite happy with the shot that I hit. It just basically came out pretty much exactly as I'd envisaged. The putt I left on the edge, like it was literally on the lip. And it was sort of a little bit downhill, and I didn't want to run it too far past. So I wouldn't say I was tentative, but I just didn't hit it hard enough. Was really the end result, and
not quite as
sat on the lip.
Not quite as aggressive as on 10.
No, but on 10 it was slightly uphill, whereas on 15 it was more downhill. So again, I didn't want to run it.
You didn't think that the 6 foot past the hole was the right sinking speed?
No. So I'm 3 over with 3 to play. So
it's pretty good. Playing off 4.
Playing off 4, yeah. So I was sitting in a good position. On 16, pulled out my driver, and then the second time I'd pull out my driver and hit exactly the same shot as what I'd hit on 14 and 9 with the driver. It just went straight right. I'm a little bit fortunate that there's a lot of room out there before you get to the hazard. So it didn't actually get into the hazard. So I think I was a little bit lucky there, but I was also sitting down in the rough, like it was a bit of a tough lie. I only had about 110 meters to the flag. So I grabbed a pitching wedge and just tried to gouge it out somewhere up near the green, and I hit it slightly right of the flag, and it landed just in the rough and just kicked straight right into the bunker, which I felt a little bit hard done by, because I thought it was a better shot than that. But it is what it is. Got up there, and again I played a bunker shot very similar to what I'd played on the 5th hole, the par 5, where I just didn't take enough sand, and it landed on the green but then rolled through the green. And then I pitched my next one maybe about 1.5 meters past, and with the putt, again, hit it right edge, and it just stayed there and just rolled over the right edge. So I ended up with another double bogey, another 6, which was pretty disappointing, because I mean, the tee shot wasn't great, but I thought I'd actually hit a half decent second shot. The bunker shot wasn't great. It was an okay little pitch from the other side of the green out of the rough. But the putt, I actually hit the putt exactly where I wanted to. I wasn't disappointed with the putt. It just didn't take the break as I thought it was going to, and walked off with another 6. And that was deflating. I have to admit, I was pretty deflated after that. So we got up to 17. Now 17's the par 3 that's surrounded by water. Hit a bit of so it was exactly 90 meters to the flag. Hit a bit of an ordinary 54-degree wedge that just stayed on the green right. It was so there's the hazard that's right, and it just stayed on the edge of it was actually in between the green and the wall of the hazard. So that's how bad the shot was. It wasn't that far right of the flag, but it just wasn't a
flag you should go at. Did you have a stance?
No. I had a stance because I was a little bit short of the flag, and what it does, it narrows towards the back of the green. So the angle that I had meant that I had a reasonable stance. And the putt I hit, I actually hit a really good putt that, again, just stopped on the edge. But again, the putt was probably 20 odd feet. And I actually thought I'd made it for half a second there. It was sort of up the hill, but just with the the coring of the green and the slow greens had just pulled up a little bit. So I thought I'd made my third two of the day, but yeah, again, just stopped on the edge of the green. So I just tapped that in and walked to the last.
Easiest hole on the golf course, 18.
Easiest hole on the golf course, not. So the last is a par four. Goes
Par four and a half, really.
Goes all the way around the hazard. Fairway bunkers through the fairway. So again, I usually just hit a 4 fairway off the tee and just aim it at the left hand side of the right bunker. If you're going to aim at the left fairway bunker, you've really got to hit driver. And I'm just not hitting my driver well enough to be able to take that on. So generally speaking, I always hit a 4 fairway, hit a really good 4 fairway, probably my best swing of the day. With the 4 fairway, just ripped it at the left-hand side of that bunker, turned over into the middle of the fairway. I had exactly 155 meters to the flag, and and as you know, the green on 18, it's a little bit shallow, but it's very wide. It's probably at least 30 meters wide. It's a really wide green, and the pin was on the right hand side, which is good because the hazard's all left. I've hit it literally 25 meters left of the flag, and it carried over the water by about half a meter.
Ooh.
So it wasn't a hook. It was just a straight pull left.
Wow.
And as soon as I hit it, I just went, go. Yeah. I was just yelling at it to go. And it landed literally half a meter over the water. So I had this 25-meter putt for birdie on 18. And again, I felt pretty good over the putt. I'd been putting reasonably well all day, and I hit a massive drop kick. Hit the ground first, and because I was trying to hit the putt so hard, I felt like I almost had to cock my wrists. I had to hit it that hard, and I just hit the ground first.
Dropped a bit of shoulder into it.
And so it ended up about 12 feet short. And I just went, like last thing you need on the last, or you want with something like that, you want to sort of lag it up there to a couple of feet just to have a nice easy par putt. So I spotted it and just let a couple of guys were further away from me, just to clear my head a little bit. And then again, sort of like on 10, I just got really focused, and I stood over the putt and I went, I'm not missing this putt. And I hit, again, really, really good putt. Never looked like going anywhere else but the middle of the hole, and it just went straight in, nothing but net.
Nice.
Thanks very much. Par finish, 77, 35 points.
It's pretty solid golf. I mean, there's 2 doubles in there, but like seriously, it's 5 over par. It's a lot of pars, 2 birds.
Yeah. And I feel as though my putting was really good today, even though the greens weren't great. And I had a couple of 3 putts, one off the edge of the green, which technically isn't a putt, but I still count that as a 3 putt. So my strokes gained for putting was 0.1, was plus 0.1 compared to a scratch handicap. So I feel as though my putting was my strength today. And it's interesting. I went out there and deliberately with a bit of a different focus with my putting. So normally with my putting, and we talk about a little bit that, you stand over your putt and you make your stroke, and whatever happens. All you can do is control that, your stroke and the variables that are, the grass and the greens and the different breaks and slopes. You can't control that once it leaves your putter face. So that's how I've always putted, in that I've been very stroke focused and just making sure that I put the best stroke that I can on it, and whatever happens after that is whatever happens after that. Today I went out there and focused on holing putts.
Okay.
that was my focus. So I was very, and that's why I sort of really, narrowed in my focus on 10 and then on 18. They were probably the two best examples of it, where my whole focus was, this is going in. And that was my focal point. It wasn't my stroke. It wasn't speed. It wasn't any of that. It was, I'm holding this putt, and I'm going to allow my body to do whatever it needs to do to hold this putt.
So you've gone from an internal focus to an external focus.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Which I found really interesting, and I've thought about it on the way home. And it's something that I've never. I just haven't. I've been very internal. Like my whole golfing life is all about what's going on inside and very internal focused. So this is sort of the first time I've really experimented, you could probably call it, with being external. And I'm actually quite surprised at the result that's come out, because again, I felt confident over putts. I felt like I was going to hole every putt that I stood over. It was just different. It was, I feel as though a lot of the time, especially when I'm putting, I get tentative at times. But there was nothing tentative about what I did on the greens today. So I think maybe I found a little bit of a change of focus until I putt poorly next time, and then I'll change again.
Exactly. I was going to say that. It's like, that should work really well for you for a week.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting though, like, because it's very much two different ways of looking at it. One focusing on the mechanical side of it, putting focusing on the stroke on, and then letting the ball do whatever it does, and then the other one, focusing on the outcome or focusing on the target. What's interesting though, like I found, and I'm going back now a year or so ago when I was having some real struggles putting, and I actually found the opposite, that what freed me up quite a lot was to go, I'm just going to try and roll the ball like end over end on the line that I pick. And if it goes in, great. If it doesn't, I don't care. And like not think about the target. And I found that in that circumstance really freed me up quite a lot to make better putts, and as a result sunk more putts. So I think just I don't think, what I'm saying is I don't think either option is right or wrong. I think sometimes, like what you discovered today, changing that focus actually can free you up and allow you to access the skills rather than being tight and tense, which obviously over putts not a good thing. Whereas for me, the opposite did the same thing. So it's just maybe sometimes, whichever it is, try something different. You could always also go down the Sergio Garcia, Jordan Spieth route of closing your eyes. Is another option.
That is something that I have thought about, to be honest with you. Yeah. Or Jordan Spieth actually looks at the hole. I think it was Justin Rose that was the other one that was closing
Spieth's done everything on the greens.
Probably.
But Sergio definitely closes his eyes. The heads up putting, so looking at the hole, that's now friend of the show, Sashay McKenzie, is all about that.
Right. Okay.
He's done quite a few. Published quite a few things on that, and basically saying that that's absolutely the way to go. I don't know that I'm not exactly going to go against Sashay. Like, okay, the guy's world leading.
What does he know? I mean, seriously,
biomechanist when it comes to golf. But I just, some of the explanations for me don't wash right, because one of the things that he's talking about is equating it to free throws in basketball, and saying that on the free throw line, the basketballer doesn't stand there and look at the ball or look at his hand. He looks at the ring where he's, the target. And same with darts, like if you're standing there at darts, you're looking at the dartboard. You're not looking at the dart and trying to throw it there.
So is he saying that when you stand on the tee, you should be looking down the fairway?
Well, this is the thing, right? Because yes, golf and in particular putting is a bit of a target sport, but the difference is it's an interception sport as well. So you've got to, it's not just the movement, like you're not just throwing the club at the hole or at the fairway, you're intercepting it with the golf ball to get the golf ball then moving. And probably a more accurate analogy might be something like pool or snooker, where you've got the cue, you're hitting the cue ball to go to another ball to go into the pocket. So what do you look at? Do you look at the cue ball? Do you look at the ball that you're trying to hit the cue ball at, or do you look at the pocket, which is the ultimate target? So
yeah. Well, the same as go back to your old sport, cricket. I mean, what are you watching in the bowler's hand as he runs into?
I'm not looking at the bat. I'll give you the tip.
Not looking in cow corner to hit it out there, are you? I mean, it's
no, you're not supposed to, and that's where a lot of people come unstuck, because they do get the big head in the air and the lusty swing and look at the fence as the ball hits the stumps. So yes, you look at the ball, because it's an interception sport. Difference there, the ball's moving. In golf, it's not moving. So that changes things. But I don't know. I did try to do the look at the hole putting. Now, one of the flaws I think that there is in it is it actually tended to make me try and hit the ball straight at the hole, regardless of the break.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's interesting. I think if you're going to do it, it's actually not about looking at the hole per se. It's about looking at the target line that you want to hit the putt on, potentially.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be very interested if any of the pilgrims have been playing around with this. And if you haven't, then next time you're on the green, what I want you to do is think about, do I look at the ball? Do I look at the hole? Do I think about my stroke? Do I think about the target? Do I close my eyes? Do I open my eyes? Do I breathe in or breathe out? Like, I really want you all to think about all of those things as you're putting in your next round of golf, because that can only help.
Absolutely. I've actually gone back and I've also integrated it into my short putting of looking at the hole when I'm doing my practice strokes. I did that a long time ago, and then I tried to transition across, and mainly because with my wedge play, the clock method seemed to work quite well. And I know we've talked about the clock method on the show, and when I first started sort of doing a fair bit of practice with pitching, I don't so much use it. Well, I still use it a little bit, but not. I'm not rigid in the way that I use it. But what I was doing was that I was going, okay, well, the clock method's worked for my pitching. Logically, it would work for putting as well. So I tried to transition my putting across, but I just I had no feel at all, and my putting went a little bit south with it, and I don't think that would work. Yeah, so I've actually gone back to looking at the hole when I'm taking my practice strokes, and I'm finding that for distance control, because all I'm doing is quite literally feeling how far, how hard I've got to hit the stroke, and then basically as soon as I get over the ball, I'm just trying to replicate that feeling that I've had in my practice stroke. So. And that's been working really, really well. So I'm really happy with having gone back to that, and I guess a little bit of back to what I know and what's worked previously.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the way to go. There's so much feel in putting, more so than anything else, for distance control, and it's different on different greens, so you're calibrating that in. One of the other things that I've noticed is with using the square for doing the nearest to the pin short game stuff with the square, and having the setting where you've got to putt out when you make it to the green as well, which I quite enjoy doing. But what I find really difficult with that is it'll say you've got a 3.5 meter putt, and you go, all right, well, then trying to mentally translate that to, I try and then kind of get a visual in the high performance center for roughly how far that is to hit, and then trying to imagine what it would be like on a green speed rather than putting it on the furry synthetic turf that you've got just between the hitting mat and the screen. So, because there's all those things that are the variables, and I find it really difficult to gauge the distance of a putt without looking at the target to hit it to.
Yeah.
But I think it's a valuable thing to do. Like I think it will only help in terms of getting a bit more understanding of distance control. So there is value in that, but it's difficult.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So just wrapping up my round from a strokes gain perspective, going through those 4 areas. So driving was minus 3.5. That was the weakest part of my game. But again, it sort of just comes back to the main reason why it's there is distance from the tee.
Yeah, but it's also the 2 massive blocks that you've hit and one into a hazard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Approach play minus 0.6.
Pretty good.
So felt that was pretty good. Short game minus 0.9. Which is reasonable, and then putting plus 0.1. So apart from driving, I mean the rest of my game is in pretty good shape, I feel. So it's I mean, I don't feel as though I hit it great today.
Yeah.
But I feel as though the signs are there and it's not far away.
But you've kept it in play as well. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. So from a fairways hit perspective, 9 out of 13, 10 out of 18 greens in reg, and 31 putts. So, look, talking about wedge play, still feel like I'm, that improvement that I've had over the last 12 months with my wedge play still there. Actually, with today was a flag round, so I dropped 0.1 of a shot, so I'm now 3.6 rather than 3.7. So look, and I on the Facebook group, I was having a conversation with Pilgrim Matt, and I did sort of say that if I'm breaking 80 at the moment, I'm reasonably happy. So 77, broke 80 by 3. So can't at this stage in the amount of golf that I've played over the last 12 months, I'm not disappointed with that round of golf.
It's pretty good golf, very solid. Good to see you building. I'm hoping to play some golf. I mentioned earlier this weekend. I've barely picked up a club. Like obviously I played 9 holes this afternoon, very rusty. That was more mental than physical. What I was out there for was more mental than physical. It'll be interesting to see how it goes on the weekend. I go in with 0 expectations because it'll just be nice to actually get out and play some golf again after everything else that's been going on.
Yeah. Well, another month we've got the Duntry Seniors, so got to sort of.
It's a month away. There's opportunity to get some work done between now and then.
Yeah. Funny. And there's a short break over Easter where potentially there can be a little bit of golf played. I'll probably try and get out for it won't be a comp round. It'll be a practice round, maybe Friday morning. I'm going to try and sneak out and play. I mean, Friday mornings is pretty quiet at Coimbra, so hopefully before, and it'll only be 9 holes. I might try and sneak down the back 9 to see if I can get around before the crowds get up there for Easter. I
think that's sensible. Yes, there's a little bit to do. I'm thoroughly looking forward to the Duntry Seniors. That's going to be a cracking event. It'll be a lot of fun. And it'd be nice to play some good golf. It's funny though, like I felt this afternoon, driver's still a little bit of a question mark. I was hitting it well, but I wasn't really controlling it as much as I wanted. It wasn't too bad. Like most of my drives were still, in play and had opportunities with second shots. I feel like my overall ball striking is not in terrible shape. Still hitting some pretty good shots. Working on a theory with chipping and pitching at the moment. So see how that progresses. It's early days at the moment. We'll talk about that in future episodes.
Hear about that. Yeah.
And putting today actually was pretty good. Things didn't really go in, but I was hitting putts exactly where I wanted to and had pretty good distance control. So I was pretty happy with putting. And that. Yeah, so like I feel like it's not that.
The greens.
Yeah, they did it. They did it about a month ago, maybe sort of 5 weeks ago, something like that. So they are actually, because it's Easter, so the Easter tournament is coming up.
The Macquarie Cup, is that on this weekend?
It's on. Right. Yeah, it is on. I'm not playing in it. I'm going to play Saturday. So I'm saying I'm not playing in it. I'm going to play Saturday. If I have a good round, I might play Sunday, but I'm not planning to. Yep. And I just don't know that on the home front playing 2 days of golf is necessarily going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So with what's going on, it's understandable.
Yeah. So I think 1 day, sure. 2 days, I think is a bit silly. So I may just go in the Stableford event on the Saturday just to, kind of not necessarily put myself through the trials and tribulations of tournament stroke play when I haven't been playing really at all in the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's about just getting out there at the moment, having a good time, enjoying the walk, enjoying the company. And,
for sure.
I think it's important. That's one of the beautiful things about the game of golf. It's restorative 100%. Qualities. So
for sure.
Yeah, there you go, Andy Walker. Nice work. And I think, we've talked a bit about the future, but between now and then, preparation for these tournaments like the Duntry Seniors, you got any words of wisdom for any of the pilgrims that might be embarking on a challenge like that?
Oh, look, I think that we just need to act like the Easter Bunny and rock out, pilgrims.
Not sure what the Easter Bunny's got to do with it. Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, pilgrims.